Wenn wir sonntags in die Kirche gehen,
es war immer so,
bleiben wir noch erst im Wirtshaus stehen.
es war immer so, es war so.
Du lieber Gott im Himmel rein.
Part 2. So I didn't have much rest that night. See, our apartment had a washer, but not a dryer. But I didn't know that. I thought the machine that was in there did both things. Well, I found out that it was only a washer, so I tried drying my clothes that I left last night with a hairdryer, but it didn't work out. We went to breakfast as a group in the morning, but they went to Dunkin' Donuts, so I didn't get anything. My goal was to eat stuff that I could only find in Germany. And here are some of the few pictures that I took that morning. And then me and David got lost.
I think I misunderstood you that we were supposed to go the other direction.
But you can't blame us. We tried to get on the correct train, but the doors closed right in front of us. Luckily, we were able to catch up fairly quickly.
Potsdam didn't have much of military value during that era, but they did destroy the palace during that time as well, that one night. Now the other side of town, Sanssouci, the Neues Palais, Cecilienhof, that all survived the bombing. That was not destroyed, and those buildings are authentic. It was originally, for a very long period of time, the city prison, and they would call it here in Potsdam the doll's house, because that's what they call the statue up there, the doll, and the house below, the doll's house. What the Americans would call Steuben, okay? Here it's called Steuben. So you got Steubenville, Ohio, named after this man here, General von Steuben. He's the man who whipped the Continental Army into shape during the Revolutionary War. Now, when he finds the US Army in a pretty depressed point of view, shall we say, at Valley Forge, he finds them, and this is his own quotations, his own words. He said that they were so illiterate and uneducated, the only way that he could teach them to march was by tying a little piece of straw to their left leg, a little bit of hay to their right leg, and saying straw leg, hay leg, straw leg, hay leg, instead of left, right, left, right, left, right. Well, it worked, because you beat the British. Well done, and you have your independence. So you can thank this man over here. Now it was, like I said, royal stables at one point in time. Today they've got a film museum in there. That's because Potsdam, Babelsberg, where we came through on the S-Bahn on the way through here, very famous for film production, going right back to the 1920s. If you're a fan of Metropolis, you're a fan of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, all shot in Film Park, Babelsberg.
I definitely had to take a picture there. And that's actually a really good circle.
So here we are, we're at one of the old border crossings between East and West. We're currently in the former East here, obviously, Potsdam, former East. And just the trees on the other side of the bridge, the Glienicke Bridge, that's back into West Berlin again. But if we have a look at my map here, I'll show us exactly where we are. Just where that X is there. We're just outside of Berlin. Well, you can see that Berlin is divided into 4 as well. So this is just roughly where we are. So the bridge actually would have been a very important border crossing from East back into West, predominantly for military personnel. It was not actually a border crossing for civilians. So we've got East German border guards here at that time. Because of the close proximity back into West Berlin again, it was also quite a popular destination for escape attempts. There was one failed attempt to ram a car right through a barrier here to the other side. That was a failed attempt. One successful attempt. 3 young men borrowed a rather large van, a transit van, and just smashed it right through the barrier. That was in the 1980s. We did have someone shot here as well. someone trying to escape and someone drowned in the river, trying to swim to the other side, because of course the river was considered part of East Germany, but the bank on the other side was back into the west again. Now we have the Klinika Bridge directly ahead of us here. It was called at one time the Bridge of Unity, but the Americans paid for the rebuilding of the bridge and insisted that it be called the Klinika Bridge. Now, where we have the pea green or the lighter green colour, that's still into the east, that's still the former east. But when the green gets a little bit darker, you're back into the American sector then again, okay? So even during the Cold War era, they couldn't agree on what shade of paint to paint the bridge. Very symbolic of the Cold War, I think, in some ways. But the most famous incidents here, of course, the spy swaps. Now, we're talking particularly about February 1962. The swapping of Gary Powers with Willie Fisher, codenamed Rudolph Abel. But the idea of the layout of the gardens, the new gardens, it was done in the British style, landscape architecture by a man called Peter Joseph Lenné. He's a landscape architect who did most of the gardens that we're going to see today, both in Sanssouci and the new gardens here. Now, that British style from the 18th century was actually to leave the gardens looking very unmanicured, looking very rough. And the whole idea was that things were hidden around corners. So around every corner we should get the wow factor. Okay, that's the idea, is that the garden is revealing something new to you as you go around each corner. And we'll see the Marble Palace, and eventually we'll see the old Tudor manor, Cecilienhof itself. And originally there would have been dairy cattle roaming the gardens as well. That was all part of the design.
Eso.
What happens after a great king? You get not so great king. There was actually Frederick the Great's nephew. Did not very successful, and very short reign as well. Only reigned over this area for 11 years. He was for his official mistress. His official mistress, that's a rather bizarre term. But he had 4 children together. And when he had an official mistress, it meant that if he didn't have any issue, if he didn't have children with his wife, that these illegitimate children could have a claim to the throne. Wow. So Wilhelmine von Lichtenau, that was the name of this woman. She would have lived in this marble palace over here, hidden away from Berlin city centre with his other family. That's a picture taken just around the corner there, okay? Just around the corner, just at the front of the building. Stalin, Churchill and Harry Truman. Now, during the centre of the conference, they actually arrived here for the conference on the 16th of July, working all the way through to the 2nd of August. But the building itself, 144 rooms, individual rooms, and more interesting, I always think, 55 chimney stacks. 55, yeah, all completely individual of each other. The idea of putting all these chimney stacks up there was a sign of power during the Tudor era. So it's always considered to be something essential to Tudor architecture as well. I can tell you that most of them are fake. Yeah, they're not attached to any fireplace whatsoever. Half the building now is used as a hotel. The only hotel that I know on a World Heritage Site, UNESCO World Heritage Site. That hotel is closed for the next couple of years as restoration work is done on the building. The other half of the building is a museum for the Potsdam Conference. But something over here, we've got something really interesting as well, these red brick buildings. That is Potsdam's Dutch Quarter, or Holländisches Viertel. So the whole idea of the Dutch Quarter here was built between 1733 and 1740, was to attract Dutch craftsmen to Potsdam, particularly linen weavers. The idea of bringing Dutch people here, they were very skilled craftsmen. And the idea behind that, I guess, is if we build a little area that looks like Amsterdam, they'll move here because they'll be fooled into thinking that it's Netherlands. Well, that was the idea. It was actually very unsuccessful. Not many Dutch craftsmen ever moved here, actually. And they gave the building...
That's like my favorite.
One of the things I really loved about this area of Potsdam was the cobblestone streets. And I saw a Ferrari. So then it was lunchtime.
What we're going to do, we'll be generous with time. We're going to come back here, this exact place. I'm going to give you a few options of places to eat in the complex. Like 10 past 2. 10 past 2.
11:30, 1:30?
So yeah, it's just after 1:30 then.
So 10 past.
1:30.
Okay.
10 past 2. 10 minutes after 2. The American clock. Yeah, yeah.
Just say anything.
Video of a video.
I think video inception.
Yeah, you're in video, me video, and you
I don't
video.
have data though, so I'm
But anyway, we
viewer
are
for the Vine.
living it pretty good over here.
I got no data, so I can't use anything else. I have Wi-Fi.
I should have bought the 128. See, I never knew what I was gonna use all this memory for. Should have got the 128 now.
We are here in Potsdam as well.
Where's our water?
Mine just out of memory. Danke schön.
Danke schön.
Now the interesting thing about the city walls in Potsdam, usually city walls are built to defend the town against invaders. But at Potsdam it was actually the opposite. They were trying to keep the people in. It's because a lot of conscripts were brought into the army from various parts of Europe at that time.
Oh, ich geh und steht mir mein Herz so weh, mein Steirerland, ja glaubt's mir's gewiss. Wo das Sturzel knäut und wo der Gansbock feut, wo mein Liebrets Herzog Johannis. Oh, la diode du
Our last stop of the day was the Berlin TV Tower, where you could see Berlin in 360 degrees from 203 meters high.